Right, Dev, welcome to the Dwell Convo Couch.
Thank you, Dino.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
It's so great that your wife put all of this together.
So fortunate.
So fortunate you are. Is it a bit awkward for you that I don't work for Dwell, but I've dressed in the full Dwell colors, including the freedom of movements for this?
I've planted the seed, and that was basically what's happening right there.
No,
you will be on the couch with me next year.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you. So, Dev, let's start off. When did the journey as a sales specialist begin?
Dino, at the tender age of 22, I was in between rugby seasons overseas, came back for a knee injury, had lunch with one of my dad's mates who owned a real estate agency, and I joined him the next day. And yeah, the rest is history.
So 22 is a young age to start working in this industry, and you've worked with some of the most well-known agency brands, and now you're the owner of Dwell Properties. What do you think makes you and Dwell Properties unique, and how is your company structured to service the property market today?
Dino, yeah, at 22, being a conventional agent was quite daunting to a degree. Again, you had 500 odd properties on the books, and to try and be the master or to try and be professional to understand what those properties consisted of was a bit overwhelming for me. So what's organically basically happened for me as an agent was I slowly started to focus on niche areas or niche properties and just try to be the best at knowing those properties, and I suppose the results came with that, which then led me into property developments, because in the early 2000s, the estates weren't really well established in the area, and as they were starting to come to life, again, I was just focusing on those projects specifically, knowing that that client was after that particular estate, and it was just a matter of getting the right property to the right person. So that's pretty much how I evolved, and yeah, that's where we are today with Dwell Properties.
So I'm sure you've had a lot of memorable moments that differed from back then to today. Can you maybe share one or two with us?
Yeah, again, probably one of my best stories was, I was 23, I think, and I decided to take a sneaky half day, and I popped down to the beach in Tinley Manor for a fish. And I stopped in at the little shop, and there was a chap looking in a real estate window looking at some property, and obviously asked him if I could assist. And long story short, he spent about 20 odd million rand with me buying beachfront property. So I think, again, what excites me about property is you never know what your day is going to bring. So it's those exciting moments and just being lucky at the right time, and obviously you make your own luck to a degree.
But that's such a great story, and it actually leads me into my next question. You have been a Belito local for 25 years now. Your direct new family, call it, not just new, have been here for over 30 years. Do you see that as an advantage in terms of property connections and networks?
Definitely. I think home ground advantage for any agent or any person in your industry is a massive strength. So when you do know your area extremely well, again, I think you almost need to be believable, and you need to be trustworthy to a degree of what you're talking about. So the fact that you know your area so well, and you can be so pinpoint in terms of where that client needs to be based on what their needs are, having that advantage is massive.
I agree. Now, why do you think Dwell Properties has become one of the most sought after sales solutions, not only for new developments and not only in KZN and North Coast, but really around the country and even in Mauritius, I believe?
Dino, again, we, like my earlier days in the property game, it was about focusing in on projects. We all have our lanes, I like to call them lanes, and we all have our projects that we specialize on specifically, and try and stay in that lane and try and be the best at it. So that's obviously how we've evolved on a Dwell perspective. As a company perspective, new developments, again, it's a very similar process where we almost become a white glove solution. We tend to represent the developer in terms of their in-house sales team. Again, it's the same principle. You're following the same line, you're following the same focus, you're representing the same brand, and you live in it. So they almost have exactly the same approach, and I think that's been our strength. We're fortunate that we've got good colleagues in the game who we can dovetail quite well together with. And yeah, again, talking about Mauritius, we were also fortunate enough to be involved in the developments on the north side of the island. Same principle, we had a guy on the ground who lived, breathed the brand, and yeah, again, like I said, it's just having that same foundation that we follow through in our business.
And it certainly shows in your business as well. Dwell has by far flown under the radar sort of as a developer and as as a property company. But what do you think are the three main characteristics that your successful sales specialists need to have as part of Dwell?
I think it's a bit of a balancing act. It's obviously important to have your brand as an agency out there for people to know you are, but again, when you look at the development space, it's not about me or it's not about my brand, it's about the development. So if you look at your typical client coming in, again, if it's Dwell, if it's one of the other agencies, they're not really too fussed about that. They want to make sure that this person knows what they want and what the product is. So that's, like I said, it's almost happened organically with our new projects. Obviously, as Dwell has grown and as we've become more prominent and seen in the other states, it's important that we start sharing what the brand's all about and obviously unpacking Dwell and just understanding what we do.
Dev, you steer the Dwell ship with some of the top local sales specialists and professionals. Give us a little insight into your team.
Yeah, very fortunate position to have such great people around me. Dino, one of my mentors said to me early on, when I started Dwell, shortly after that, he said, just be careful of your growth, because with a bit of success, automatically you want to grow. So I've almost tried to let the growth happen organically. Currently, there's 5 agents, and we basically represent 5 developments currently. So I think that has been the focus. We almost call our top execs key accounts managers, who are our head of sales looking after each project. And I think with that organic growth, I'm excited to see what lies ahead of Dwell, and we'll just have to keep our feet on the ground.
It's also very clear that Dwell Properties offers a unique, different buying experience for clients, and that leads me into saying that I do believe there's quite a special connection to the notorious Rainmaker Marketing.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Stefan, yes. So Rainmaker Marketing, amazing outfits, property marketing agency. They're the biggest in Africa, but again, they're just so professional at what they do, and fortunate I've got a great relationship with Steph. We've done several projects together, and I suppose with the friendship and success, it makes things a little bit easier. You're not trying to force the issue. We work well hand in hand, and I think it's also just dovetailing. I can lean on him, he can lean on me in terms of what our developer needs, because that's obviously who we're servicing. So we've just been fortunate that over the last few years, that's again happened organically, and very, very fortunate to be in that position.
We're very interested to hear about this partnership relationship, and we're going to call Stefan to the couch now.
Cool.
To have a chat with him.
Nice.
Thanks, Dev.
Thank you, Dino.
Right, Steph, welcome to the Dwell Convo couch.
Hello, Dean. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thanks, Dev.
From Rainmaker Marketing, the first obvious question is, how do you make the rain?
I don't know. Sometimes better than others, but we just got an amazing team, I guess.
Well, that's the first one. The second one is the wives want to know, is your relationship with Dev purely work and professional? Never schedule gives it away.
No comment there, Dean.
So Steph, welcome. Congratulations are in order. Your company, Rainmaker Marketing, won the top marketing company in Africa this year. That's an incredible achievement. Well done.
Thank you.
So Steph, it would seem Rainmaker Marketing has become the most sought after marketing solution for developments locally and abroad. To date, how many developments have you worked on?
So Dean, we've been fortunate to have worked on quite a few. I think the thing that we're proudest of is that in the last 2 years, our clients have achieved about 7 billion in sales across the various projects we work in. And I think we've been lucky enough to work on projects, obviously in the North Coast, which we're really passionate about, and sort of everything we've learned has been on the North Coast. So that's what we really believe in, but also to have worked considerably around South Africa in terms of Western Cape, Gauteng, and also have done stuff in Mauritius, Australia, and Portugal. And I think the awesome thing about that is it's given us the opportunity to see different trends, adapt to different scenarios. I think we all know in this space that it's one moving target, and there's so many different variables to every different development. And I think the opportunity to have learned from all those experiences and all those different scenarios and be able to adapt that into every new project, which everyone's different, and to try and find a winning solution each time, which is, I think, something we sort of relish in.
Sure, and it's kudos to you because Rainmaker Marketing really has become a household name, especially in KZN, which leads me to my next question. how did you meet Devon and how did you link this up?
So I met Devon about 7 years ago when we were doing the branding for Eleni. So naturally, Devon told me about how he was the best-selling sales agent in the country at the age of like 16 or something ridiculous at the time. So I didn't really believe it until I saw it. But the weird thing about Eleni was it was such a unique scenario and so unique to the North Coast in the sense that I think we all worked together, and it really was a full-on collaboration to develop ourselves and Dev and Dave who were doing the sales in terms of creating something unique. But there was very little. I mean, there was an amazing forest, but a lot of the property you couldn't access. And I think that was a really, really good lesson in terms of if you get the positioning right and you have a really, really network-driven approach, you can achieve a huge amount below the radar. And it was a very different strategy to anything we'd done before. And there I realized the impact of a sales team who've got an incredibly good network and what was achieved there in terms of a like-minded community, which today I think has really differentiated Eleni from so many other states in the country. And yeah, that was the start of the friendship. I gained a lot of respect for Deb in the process. And yeah, I think it's been amazing working with him, and the team as a Dwell team has evolved across various different projects over quite a number of years.
So the natural collaboration is there, as you explained, but what made you align with Dwell Properties? Because there are a lot of property development companies out there. What made you align with Dev and Dwell as a sales arm to the sort of projects that you're taking on now?
No, I think it's a very good question. So the thing about our model is we do up to a certain point. So we do the research, we do the marketing, and then we do the lead administration. But thereafter, it's up to a team who can take a lead and can convert it. But we're not a business that judges our success by the amount of leads. The success is all judged on the success of the project from a sales perspective. So our biggest metric is cost of marketing in relation to the sales value of the project. But if you are not aligned with a team who can convert, everything falls apart. And what I've loved about working with Dev and the Dwell team, as the Dwell team has organically grown into an incredible outfit, is a cultural alignment from day one and a team that respects each other for the roles we have in the pipeline. And I think a successful project that is taken from brand through to sell out doesn't just happen by accident. It happens by a lot of people who work together, stick to their lanes, respect their roles and do their jobs really, really well. And I think the big thing that I love about the Dwell model is the fact that it's not about them, it's about the developer that comes first. And that for me is a fundamental shift from how developments have been sold traditionally within the country. And it's about a team that lives and breathes that particular product and that fits hand in glove with a bespoke marketing approach. And that's what I love because it produces results, and that's all we are after at the end of the day.
And the proof has been in the pudding. And it's interesting to hear from a marketing side. Dev, from a sales front, do you want to talk us through that collaboration with Rainmaker?
Definitely, it obviously makes our job a little bit easier when you do have the outfit like Rainmaker behind you. Again, it's just the process. We almost like the front line, as Steph explained. There's so much that happens behind the scenes, and then in terms of the execution, you need to be so pinpoint. So again, that's pretty much where we are. We're on the front line. We're only as good as the tools we have, and the tools, when you try and engage with the developer as a salesman, the biggest thing are those tools, and the guys who give us the tools are the marketers. So if you have the right agency behind you, and we're quite selective in terms of what projects we take on, and the first box that needs to be ticked is Rainmaker doing the marketing. Because like I said, without the tools, there's not much we can do.
Well, it's a powerful duo, the two of you, as well as your companies together, marketing and sales for developments. Is this, in your mind, Dev, what makes your offering to developers so appealing to new developments?
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. There's a vision that the developer loves to create, and a lot of them are big dreamers, which is magical. That's what you want in a developer. You need this massive vision, but then it needs to be broken down in collectives with an amazing professional team, and then with that professional team comes the market and the sales. So the quicker we can get involved in that process from grassroots on a development level, the more polished that product looks like at the end. So again, when developers approach us, it's that early stage of like that germination, so to speak. As soon as that seed is planted and we're involved and we're into the mechanics of what the product looks like and where's the market at. So if you can be pinpoints on that, when you got a market, most of the time it's a slam dunk.
Well, that's what Dwell Properties and your team sort of assume is a white glove sales solution. which you offer to developers. Talk us through this a little bit. Surely you want to market your brand alongside the developments as well?
Yeah, you know, again, it's a balancing act, and you've obviously got your conventional agencies, which is important to make sure you have credibility. People will know who they're dealing with. But when it comes to developments, it's not really about us. It's about what we represent, and I think it's quite comforting for a buyer to engage with someone who they feel is part of the development team. Again, it comes back to understanding the product. So if that agent, if it's me or one of my colleagues who has been involved for 12 months prior to going to markets, the insight of what their product is, you can't get better in terms of how that communication is put forward by the client. So that white glove solution and that in-house solution is what's producing the results.
And it certainly is a unique offering that you provide to the developers. Steph, there are a number of developments you're currently collaborating on. Can you tell us a bit about some of them?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, obviously the journey started with Eleni and Eleni Lifestyle, but the exciting stuff at the moment is we're involved in a project called Lux in Bali, which is exactly the scenario that Dave spoke about, working together in terms of creating that ultimate product, us creating the material, and then the Dwell team rolling it out. That's been a huge success. And then more recently, I mean, as of the last 2 weeks, is Bliss Belito, which is a perfect example of a product that's sold out on day one. And that doesn't just happen by accident. And I think that is, something we're all really, really proud of collectively, in the sense that it started by configuring a product around what the market was looking for, a really good relationship with the developer from start to finish, us doing our job, we think, pretty well, and Dwell doing their job really, really well. And the end result, I think people who arrived on that launch day and saw people queuing out the door and hundreds of contracts getting signed might have thought it's quite easy, but there was nothing easy about it. And I think that's been a really good showcase of what can be achieved when the steps are systematically followed from start to finish. And yeah, I think we're all chuffed, and it shows just good collaboration, I guess.
As you said at the start of our talk here, everyone's sticking in their lanes and doing what they need to do, and that's a prime example of that, selling out in one day. So congratulations both of you on that.
Since you know.
Thanks.
Steph, you chose Dev as a partner in the work field. What about on the golf course?
Yeah, it's a tough one, hey. Like he's quite solid, but just not too long off the tee, which is a bit of a struggle, hey.
But I'm very consistent though. I'm very average all the time. Steph's hot and cold.
You might need a lie detector test here for both of you. Dev, you founded Dwell in 2018. In just 4 short years, you've achieved some of the best sales records to date on the KZN North Coast. 4 developments sold out, comprising of 250 apartments and over 140 land sales across lush condos, forest view apartments, Eleni Coastal Forest Estate, and as we said, the most recent sellout of Bliss Belito, which sold out in 5 hours. In your mind, overall, between you and Steph, what has led to this success?
Dean, so many moving parts. We've obviously summed it up through the chat of how much actually goes in behind the scenes, and it's about the people around us on every level, from sales to marketing to the development team, and also being lucky to a degree, at the same time make your own luck and just be very select in terms of what that product is and making sure it's the right thing going to market. And like I said, just been very fortunate to be in this position with great people around us.
And I think just to add from our side, I mean, just credit to Dev and the team, is we've seen sales teams around the country and internationally, some good, some not so good. And I think the common denominator in terms of those that work are those that are humble and those, the caliber of the people behind it. And I think the whole trend now is almost revolutionizing the traditional estate agency approach by putting the right people in who have got incredible relationships and understand product and so forth, and moving away from a traditional way of selling. And I think if you look at that Dwell team, and I think that's why we as Rainmaker Marketing are so chuffed every time we get to work together, is just the caliber of the team. And I think that is exactly why the success is what it is.
Well, certainly humble and trust is something that comes across from both of you, and that's why we get why this is such a strong and powerful collaboration. Thank you for your time on the couch, both of you, and we wish you guys all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Steph.